Here we go.
Working or not. We're going to go with just the audio. Just the audio. Whoa, yo. I don't know if we're live or Memorex. We have a glitch in the matrix. Market vitals.
Our CGI is misbehaving.
CGI Tom Cruise coming your way. I don't know, Matt. I don't know.
Chilly this morning, 35 degrees on its way to 80. I love these days.
All right, there we go. Yeah. All right, we're live now for sure, but everybody's on the old feed.
They'll figure it out.
They'll find it, right? This too shall pass. What a rip back. Matt.
Typical.
I gotta tell you, I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping this is the beginning of a bear market. I had an interaction yesterday on Twitter, and we've talked about this. I would much prefer like a 3 or 4 year grinding bear market that just robs the soul of every hodler out there. I don't know. Maybe I'm sick. I'm a sick guy. That's okay.
Well, that's just because you've had 12 years of up and away, and you're sick of it. You're looking for change. I'm
looking for change, and believe me, the other thing that I know for a fact is
we're always, as traders, we're always looking for change.
Hold on a second, Matt. I'm in the wrong spot. We're gonna do the intro anyway. Matt, tell us something about yourself. So we don't have to suffer through the intro again. Son of a bitch. I had to do that, Matt, because this is where the graphics lie.
I see.
And this is the trending right now. If you're on the Twitter sphere, maybe you see this in your right column. Trending in the United States, definitely trending. Nobody wants to work anymore. Matt, I got to tell you, I couldn't agree more with a statement.
Well, I mean, if you were making $8 an hour at the Sonic deep fryer station, and you can make 900 a week, I think that's probably a no-brainer call.
It turns out, Matt, that that people they always look out for the.
Maybe we've found the UBI level. Apparently, it's only it's somewhere about a gross of 40 grand a year, and people will stay home.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree with you more. That's what we've pinged here. So right. Believe me, capitalists are going to work their models right around that. That's what they do.
Right.
And I'm reminded of something I just recently saw. Like people always work for their, they work out in their head their own best interest. People are selfish. And it doesn't matter what race, creed. You're selfish. I'm selfish. We're all selfish. We all do the metric, work it out for ourselves. And I was reminded of this, how they had such a hard time in the earlier Formula One racing of getting drivers, and this is in the 50s, 40s and 50s, getting drivers to actually wear a seatbelt in the car.
Yeah.
Right. And they're doing the metric. They're like, you know what? If I wear the seatbelt and I crash, I'm going to burn to death because the car for sure is catching on fire.
Right.
So in my head, but if you get thrown from the car, you'll get killed. Maybe, but I might survive. But for sure, I'm not burning to death. People, I don't know. It's nuanced drink on a Thursday. But people look out for they do their own metric. They do their own decision making on their own risk reward. And I think if one thing Corona has proven to us is that maybe people should still have that ability to judge for themselves.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting paradox when you think about it. Like you can not go back to work and get paid. But if you don't get a vax, you're screamed at by the lunatics. Like, what's the difference?
Or you can't work. You don't get to work. Yeah. And where's the ACLU with that civil
Right.
liberty case?
Well, and then even most of the schools that have said, the systems that have said, you got, if you want to come back to the UC schools in California, you've got to get vaccinated. However, if you have a religious or a personal thing against it, then you can opt out. So it's all bullshit. Just fucking read the fine print and walk in there going, I'm against it all.
All right, Matt, let's talk. We got to talk trading at some point. Matt, chicken. Something I know something about chicken. America's chicken obsession is shifting to dark meat. You and I both went to the dark side.
We've been to the
years ago.
Years ago, for sure.
Years ago. And let me bring up the hardware. When you get into a barbecue competition, Matt, the Windy City Barbecue Classic, definitely third place, 2014. Little chicken. When you're in a barbecue competition, they do not give you breasts to barbecue. They give you thighs.
Hold on. I don't have one of those chicken things that you just showed, but I've got the claret jug.
Previously winner of the Not British Open.
But it's pretty good replica, isn't it?
It is a good replica.
From winning a nice golf tournament. So
well, we wanted to
I had a match your trophy.
Chicken, Matt, definitely chicken. And chicken prices, I think relatively escalating with all protein sources globally.
Still, what I'm surprised about on the thighs, you can buy them with the skin on and everything. Look how cheap they are. That's like 60 cents. What is that? A third of the breast? Wow, that's cheap.
And it's better. Let's just say it's better. Yeah. Now, we talked about this, the Colonel for sure has got a large exposure to chicken and the price of chicken for their profitability. Let's jump and look at Yum Brands, Matt, the home of the Colonel, who we all know puts an addictive chemical in his chicken that makes you crave it fortnightly. Smart ass.
Is that true? Is that true, Bob?
Well, Mike Myers brought it up, and I tend to agree with most things Mike Myers.
So we finally had a break, it looks like, in Yum Brands. Again, good indicator of where retail is. But this thing, again, the low, the COVID low, the C19 low, 55. So doubled plus, whatever that is, a little bit. So 60% or so gain. Value on the 1-year chart is somewhere around 105. We're trading 118. This stock pays a nice dividend, at least, if you want to be in the chicken biz, like you're saying, you get a nice 1.7% payday. And obviously that goes up when the price goes down. So the dividend has been reduced here as the capital appreciation has happened. Trades usually 1.5 million shares a day, pretty liquid, but not widely traded. And, Tesla 570. There you go.
Bingo. Matt, on the list here, and I'm fairly sure that Chipotle only uses thigh meat when they do their chicken. I've been in there, I've been watching the guys cook. I don't know this for a fact. I'm telling you, though, I know what it looks like on the grill from over the counter. And Chipotle, for me, on the weekly looks just terrible.
Well, here's the daily. You've got a little double top there at 1580 and trading 1330. So off off 10% here. Again, a huge market cap that doesn't pay a dividend. So if you want to be in the chicken business and get paid a dividend, Yum's your way to go, at least for holding the stock. CMG capital appreciation 4x this year from the C19 low. And and it's coming back into another bracket that we had broken out from, and we extended and finished that and double topped. 2 brackets there. You get below 1200, this thing's going to go to 860. So that's a significant move lower, and it's not going to happen overnight. But we're way out of value, and this thing definitely is overcooked, whether it is breast meat or thigh meat.
No pun intended, Matt. One more that we need to look at because I'm just re-looking at this price sheet.
Yep.
Wings, nearly $3 a fucking pound for wings. I mean, think about it. Wings, they used to just throw them away.
Well, my favorite stock there's 2. You got Buffalo Wild, and then you got Wingstop, which has been the new one that people love. We don't have them here in Central Oregon because we're too we're too out in the boonies. It takes about 10 years for us to get those types of chains. But 173 was a high. Again, we're at 130. So that thing has already come off a solid 25% and almost in value. As you can see, the value here for the year is somewhere around 120. That's going to be your meridian line. Do you hold there or do you go lower? That's going to be buy above 120, sell below 120 on your weekly closes. That's really the way I see this right now. And again, we've spent a lot of time going back to last August on this top end. So we're probably going to, once that rolls back over, you're going to have a lot of trapped people looking at $50 of price trapness, which is going back about 8 or 9 months. That's a long time. And when those people get trapped, they all, the rats jump ship from Wingstop, and hopefully they don't end up in the fryer.
Well, shared in the network was the marketvetals.io was the export numbers on hogs and cattle, and taking a major pullback on protein being shipped globally here. You can expect that with high prices, right? I mean, everything, Matt, has price elasticity to it.
Yeah, the other thing I was
starting to show in the protein sector anyway. People, opting for beans and rice at a certain price point.
I want to bring up the VIX futures here again, and we did. We traded down right into the top of the 16s, and again, we were suggesting back there, and about a month ago, it's probably a good time to buy some volatility upside protection. And sure enough, 16, 17, we're all the way up to 26. So that's a big move, Bob. We traded as high as almost 27 yesterday. That's pretty good. And but again, you're just kind of back into the range here, so just be wary.
And it kind of lines up with this break that we've had in the equities.
Of course, it always does. Right.
A big pullback here in the SPOOs today. The Russell and the NASI not so resilient yet.
Well, I mean, again, a 2.5% bear market rally intraday is usually pretty typical. We hit the number right on the button. We went up 100 points. And again, remember yesterday we were talking about that 40-20 level. That needs to hold before you see 39.60. We went right to 40.29 overnight.
Again, overnight, nothing pisses me off more than going to levels when you're fucking snoozing.
Well, it's the European session. I mean, you really had to expect it. You just put some bids in down there at 10 above. And if you bought it at 40-30, you wake up with a nice little 90-point gain and sell it. And there's your day. And then you get short and ride it back down. I mean, it's the same old game. We're not going anywhere. This is not a bull market still. I contend we're not.
All right. Are you in the camp that it's the beginnings of a bear market, or are we in a settling out stage here?
We're in a transitive stage. I don't want to say it's a bear market, but I mean the Nasdaq's off 1,000 points, so it's not even 10% at 14,000. So it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of garden variety selling so far, and really 3 days selling, 1 day back up. So it's not like we've seen 2 weeks of selling. This rally. I was hoping for a little bit more, but we may see it, but I don't think we're going to go up tomorrow. I thought we'd see a rally Wednesday, Thursday, so we got it. We talked about it yesterday. I said you really want to be long overnight at the close and then add anything down there to 40-20 because I don't think we're going to cut through that overnight. And we just needed to get the European session out of the way because they weren't down as much the day before. It was just right. So they're following our markets now. So it's important to note that. Who leads the markets? Is it Asia, Europe, or U.S.? And right now it's the U.S. So therefore, you have to have kind of the U.S. drives the ship. Then you have the Asian session. Then you have the European. Until then, you don't really know what the day looks like. So all three have to play out just like it did last night before you're going to know, kind of what the lows and the highs are for the day.
Let me share for a second here, Matt, because I have I have an opinion, and it's always evolving, right? Opinions.
Yep.
Opinions are like assholes, Matt. Everybody's got one. I'd like to share if I could, but right now I don't have the potential to share.
Yeah.
Decreasing potentiality on sharing.
You didn't put deodorant on today. I wasn't happy with that.
I didn't what?
Put deodorant.
All right, Matt. What I got here is the NASI futures 3-day, E-mini futures 3-day. And I just want to point out, we just said it. Is it a bear market? Is it a bull market? Or is it transitory? What is developing? And for sure, from my vantage point on this time frame, this 3-day, we have a developing bear market here. And if you go back in time here, I mean, in the collapse of the corona, we spent not very much time in lower momentum on this 3-day. We tried to get in low momentum here again, 3 bars there.
Hey Bob, show me 120 inauguration day. Where's that?
All right, and that
120.
was
120.
February.
Yeah,
so right here. We were
no, you had it.
We made the high on this trade February 15th February of 20.
No, but there, go right to the 120. Hover over that and tell me the high low of the 120.
Of
there, you're right there. I think it's the red one.
This one here?
No, that's the 4th. Look on the bottom. Look on the bottom, Bob. It shows you.
4.
That's the 4th. Keep going. Get to the 20th. There you go. One more.
Okay.
One more. There you go. So tell me
high low
that day.
13,423, 13,017.
So guess what? That's right where we are. So basically, since inauguration, the Nasdaq's gone nowhere. And then I'd like to look at that on your chart with the SPOOs too. What's the number?
All right, let me just finish my thought here. After that inauguration, we spent a couple days here in low momentum, a couple of 3-day brackets. But again, over the past 2 years, man, how much time have we spent in this lower momentum configuration? Not much.
Right.
And so we're retesting it here. If we get a rollover and these 3-day bands start pointing lower, we get negative slope to them. Now I'm telling you, from my point of view, that's my metric of a bear market. Something a little bit longer term that, the absence of strength is weakness, but the confirmation of weakness is fucking weakness, no matter which way you look at it.
It's interesting. The last time that lower band rolled, we just flatlined. The price.
Exactly. And that's why it's a developing story. There has been no follow through to say that this is indeed a bear market that we're going to deal with.
There has not.
And if we go to the SPOOs, completely different story. We haven't even penetrated that lower Mo level. Came in at, what did it come in at? 40.21, almost got there, 40.29. But again,
what's our 120 price there? Because it's lower. So the SPOOs are still green.
Yes, for sure. January 120.
Yeah.
There we go.
One more. There you go.
There we go. High was 38.59. Low was 37.88. So
again, we're still 7-8% in the green when it comes to the SPOOs. We're flat on the Nasdaq. What are we? And again, this is interesting because I wonder what the Russell is. Because if those
so for me, looking at this story, you can't tell me this is a bear market yet. All right, we haven't even closed in lower momentum on the 3-day, but it's developing. It surely looks worse than it did 3 days ago.
Well, it's touched. How many times has it touched it since September? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm sorry, I changed it. Now the Russell, this is looking more like bear market.
Yeah.
Charting for me.
And again, which is the way it should happen. The small caps, the money leaves early and harder and faster because it's hard to get out. So you need liquidity, you need volume. What has been happening really for the entire year in the Russell is distribution. The funds have been distributing, i.e. selling quietly, and it's starting to show in the price now, finally, because those momentum players, the retail, are starting to get trapped, and they're the ones that are going to push the thing fast and hard.
Again, Matt, nuanced drink. This is pretty easy to see, even without the profile, right? All of that price discovery that is underwater now.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes you don't need the profile to get that into your head.
Right.
Look at all of those 3-day brackets that we're under now. And all of those longs are underwater.
One of the big things that you should always look at is if everybody is long at these prices, then they become trapped, right? And it's the same on the bottom. If everybody is short, because we've been going down from 3 days in a row like we were, it's a perfect example of a trap game. If we can't break below a lower area of support, which was 40.20, we're likely going to bounce, just like we said. And we did. We bounced all the way to 41.20, which is 100 points, which is 2.5%. That's usually what markets do in bear markets. They squeeze the max they can until they run out of, those that were trapped in the hole. they all cover, and then there's nobody left to buy, and then you go back down again. So take advantage of these, these 2.5% rallies and sell
them. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it could be clearer for me that the story developing is the Russell certainly looks like it's in bear market territory from that 3-day chart formation, downward sloping potential on the bands. The NASDAQ looks like it wants to tell that story, and the S&Ps, the SPOO for sure is late to that party. There's talk about distribution back to maybe safer listings and names. And I don't know. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I see it. Well, Matt, on to crypto.
Yeah, since we have had some big breaks there in crypto, I think we should talk about that.
Yeah, it's out of timeout, and if you are able to short it, you've been being rewarded. And the backstories around. And I saw this tweet, and I actually agreed with it. If one CEO's tweet can schmeeze the market by that much, it's not a store of value. It's not a hedge against inflation. It is still just a
pet rock.
You could call it a pet rock. It's still in its development stage, though. And there's so much.
I mean, pet rocks.
I got to tell you, I saw some great tweets in and around this. First of all, I'm a cynic, so I do not believe that anything that comes out of this guy's mouth, whether and I'm talking about Elon Musk, whether he is trading these tweets or not. Right. You have to convince me that he's not. Being a former floor trader, I'm cynical on this. Yeah. Right?
So you're saying maybe by Friday he's going to take back.
Anything's possible. But when you look at the disruption that Bitcoin is causing and the footprint of the global financial system versus the footprint of Bitcoin mining, it's not even comparable yet. So I take question with that. And then I saw another great tweet, like how much we use every year in electricity to run our Christmas lights and Christmas decorations. And maybe we should cancel that too. It's a nuance, Matt. Thursday's drinking day. But you know what, Elon, I don't know. I don't know. I'm at a loss for it. That's the reason now, all of a sudden, and by the way, he's a champion of carbon credits to solve the global climate crisis around CO2. He's going to pay $50 or $100 million to the best idea to actually capture carbon. And so why not, listen, you can pay in Bitcoin, but you got to pay a carbon credit in order to use it. I mean, pump your own pump, dump. Anyway.
Pump your own pump, dump.
Anyway, I don't know what else to say about it. Let's talk about the price discovery of Bitcoin in particular, Matt.
Yeah, let's do it. It's interesting because I think, to your point, if I can surmise, I think really what was the most interesting thing yesterday for me was how illiquid that when that news hit.
Hold on, let me just share for a second because I just pulled this up.
Okay.
Right. Is that the Russell or is that Bitcoin?
That's Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's Bitcoin, but the Russell chart was pretty damn identical to this.
Yes.
Crazy.
And again, but not crazy because they're the most speculative of the markets. So actually I agree with that. And those will lead us. Like if fast money is leaving that early, which they are, you better be, the holders are the ones that are next that are going to push it down. And I guess that's my point in saying that, what happened yesterday was so illiquid and it was right here at 3:00, right? You and I had, I think, we had just gotten done playing tennis and I'm like, what the fuck happened? I got all these alerts, 46,000. I mean, it traded all the way, it ticked there, right? So I don't know this thing. And this is just a short-term chart, but again, we pull back and we fell out of that top bracket again that we've been talking about. And we're kind of just, we tested that low and made a new low. So couldn't hold, but we're not also, we're also not going higher here. Right. So
no, I mean, for me, this 3-day, it's crystal clear. If you can't recapture lower momentum, which is somewhere around 52,000,
Yeah, and then you start to pull back and you start to see this. Okay, now we got all kinds of holes in this profile that we're gonna whoosh through. Next time we go through 46, we'll trade down to 37, right? Then we'll bounce back to 49 and then 46, and then that will be the ceiling becomes the floor as we rotate lower. So then we'll battle all the way down to 30, we'll bounce again to 40, and this is how I see it kind of playing out. Then we're going to rotate down to 15, 18.
You know, if
We're going to stair step.
Stoudemire was on the show, Matt, he would say, listen, man, we have penetrated into this value area. We're building time and volume there. It wants to go fill 80% of the value range.
Right. So
80%
of 36,000 is, again, you do the math, it's somewhere around 30,000. And that means we're going to see 20.
Bingo.
From 50.
All right.
And by the way, Doge, for all you Doge heads, Elon did not say, I won't take your Bitcoin, but I will take your Doge. So your panties are in fun.
I don't get that. I don't get fucking short position that he needs Doge to be paid to him.
No, I'm teasing. That was a joke because he didn't say that, but he might as well.
Mine wasn't.
He may as well have, because we traded all the way down to 35 cents again. And again, just like I said, haircut 100. This is a 50% haircut from SNL. This was the SNL high. So if you're putting your money, right? if you're putting your money and your hard-earned earnings into a fucking coin that moves on a CEO being on Saturday Night Live, you got issues. That's all I gotta say. You got issues.
Matt, can I sit on the couch and tell you about all of my issues? And what are you charging out?
I got some pet rocks that Bob is trying to sell for me.
All right, Matt. Last but not least in the space, you shared inside the network another article about in the crypto space about government action, and somebody at some point is going to step in and regulate cryptocurrencies. It's not if, it's just when. It's going to happen. It's
being telegraphed so widely that they're trying to prepare them. That's correct.
All right, and so we don't have enough price discovery yet for coin. But why don't you? I mean, this thing for me. I have a 610 chart that we can take a look at, and this was the opening. It's just fallen out of bed from the opening, and then it's really put in a pretty serious top here around $300.
Earnings last night.
It's struggling, and if it can recapture lower momentum here on this 610, which comes in at 263, it gets below there. Katie, bar the doors, man, because the regulators are not going to let Coinbase trade against their customers. It's not going to happen. They become Goldman, become someplace where you can say, hey, we don't trade against our customers. Wink, wink. But Goldman's not a regulated exchange. This is,
right.
And it's not yet, but it's going to be. It's going to be a regulated exchange, and there's a whole different set of rules for the way you get to interact with your customers' funds in a regulated environment. That's what I'm seeing, Matt.
Yeah, and again, we're green in Bitcoin today, and if you'll let me share for a moment.
Yeah.
I think. The same story that we keep telling kind of in the stock world is MicroStrategies. And I mean, I don't know what to say, Bob, but we're breaking down again, and we're eating through the meat of this battle zone. Like we talk about these battle zones, and we're on our way back to, $300, and we're still at 500. We're down another 34 today. We're down 6%, yet Bitcoin is green. There's nothing in this company besides their Bitcoin play. So this is just telling me that they've left the building, like they're done with it. The plaything, because Bitcoin's green and you're still down 6%. So that's telling me more than the price of Bitcoin today. The illiquidity of Bitcoin is right up there for me with real estate. Talk about illiquid investments. When you can't get out when you want to get out, you better get out when the price is high, because if you don't, you've missed the boat. I saw that article again. Ben 2 days ago, local press, right? Everybody's pumping up that the median price home in our small little 150,000 person community is now $670,000.
Average.
Bob, average. That's the median. That is the
Fucking
median. So you can't live in this town unless you're a millionaire again. And back in 2006, that number was like 450. So you had to watch your house price get cut in half or 2/3. But I guess we're going to do it again here because people just haven't learned that it is not worth that much. This is not Malibu. I'm sorry, it's just not Malibu, and it's not exclusive like Aspen. So don't sell me that bullshit because it's untrue. Stop being realtor talk and telling me that it's always a good time to buy. It is not a good time to buy real estate. It is not a good time to buy Bitcoin. I'm ranting about illiquid, shitty assets that you're going to get bagged. So mark this day, May 13th, 2021. Bitcoin and real estate are bad investments today.
All right, it's been noted. It's on the digital ledger, Matt. As we speak, Coinbase. Somebody's watching me, right, and watching the show because Coinbase is lagging down here during the show.
Perfect example, Bob. I mean, the Philly Housing Index actually peaked. Well, a recent peak. We don't know if it's the peak, but it peaked recently, just this week, on Monday at 540. Pretty much again. This thing was trading. The COVID low was 170, so that's a three bagger, Bob. Another three bagger on housing. And has the economy as the economy softens here, it's clearly softening. The jobs picture is muddled at best. I don't think that it's teetering. Like if they don't get people back to work here, it's going to be a problem. And if they do get them back to work, it's going to be a problem. So either way, it's going to be a problem. So I don't see how.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't. I don't think you want to be, and to give you some perspective, here's the weekly. I mean, we're making multi-year low highs, and on the HGX, and we've blown through where we were. We've almost not quite doubled, but we were at 300. So let's call it 60%. We're 60% higher than the bubble we had in 2005.
And you know what? We were asked in the room what is parabolic, and from the lows, from that low there.
But this is the same. We talked about this two different instances today. When you go parabolic like this is a liquid moment. Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's soybeans, whether it's gold. When you go straight up like you're seeing the ladder straight up here, right from here to here, it's time to sell. I don't care what your emotion is. Here's the deal. If you don't want to move in the next 10 years, don't think about it. But if you are thinking anywhere in the next 10 years, you might want to move, it's about the last chance you're going to get because these prices won't be seen again for another 10 plus years, if ever.
All right, Matt. Always a pleasure. Please visit us at marketvitals.io. Join the community. Matt, as always, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts around price discovery, risk, reward, and the Detroit Lions, who interesting year. The NFL schedule is out. We were going to cover today. We're going to lead off with that tomorrow. NFL's early prognostications. You know what I like the NFL schedule more for, though, Matt? More is for setting forth travel plans for the fall, right? Where can you go catch some college football, catch some pro football, play some golf?
There's 114 days on the ticker here, as you can see, before my.
Are you seriously opening the season with the Broncos?
Where my alma mater plays yours. This is why I bring it in.
I'm a Bronco through and through. So, one of the great things ever is, Western Michigan has more wins against Alabama than Michigan does. So that's something that we got going for us.
I'm gonna have to research that one. I don't even think you've played them. So
Oh, for sure. We are 1-0 against the Crimson Tide.
Well, we've won more than one. So you're already lost. Perfect.
Okay.
We didn't talk win percentage. You said the number of wins. That's what I thought I heard you say. I can go back to the tape here, but you're going to be wrong on that one because we beat them more than
I don't mind being wrong. All right, man. You have a great day.
All right, Bobby. Take care.